Hello, everyone, and welcome to part two of the Peterborough Sports Football Manager North to Prem. Since you last left, we have played two games in National League North, and we've actually won our first National League North game. We managed to beat Southport 2-1. We actually looked really quite good in both games that we played. Unfortunately, we did actually lose the first game 2-1 to Banbury, which, looking at the league table, is much more of a game you'd expect us to have a good chance in. We probably were the better team in that game, but unfortunately, they just went 2 goals ahead pretty early on. Whereas Southport were actually up in six, I believe, when we played them. So it was a little bit of an upset. We just got our just their third defeat in all season, but we did manage to finally get our first win in the league, which actually has taken us off rock bottom. Bishop Stortford now sitting rock bottom of the league. We are still 4 points away from safety, so definitely nowhere near in the clear. But at least we've got that first win under our belt. So a 2-1 win. Caleb Chukwuemeka getting the first goal, and then Connor Johnson from a free kick. A late Marcus Carver goal. It did look like Southport might actually manage to grab an equaliser, but thankfully we did manage to keep them at bay and pick up the 3 points. Banbury, unfortunately, we did go 2 goals behind to Craig Hewitt's goals, but Caleb Chukwuemeka did get a penalty. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get the second goal to try and get a point. But in today's episode, we will be going away to both Buxton and Warrington, both teams in the top half of the table. Buxton currently 4th, Warrington currently 8th. So definitely expecting a bit of a tough double fixture there. But since you last left, we have done a little bit of transfer business. So since we've joined the club, 4 new players have arrived, and we have also let 2 players go. So we'll take a look at the 2 that have gone. Dan Jarvis was a kind of centre mid, attacking mid that just really wasn't good enough, as you can see by the fact that he's went to Ramsgate, who play in the Isthmian Division 1 on a free transfer. He wasn't good enough. I think he was on about £200-300 a week as well. Matty Miles was filling in at left back for a couple of those games. So he actually was playing for us, but obviously, again, he's just not good enough. So we needed to get him moved on. He's went to Lowesoft, who also play in the Isthmian Division 1 North. I'm guessing that's what that is. So he's left us, again, not really good enough. As you can see, based on his history, he is very much a non-league player. So those 2 have left us, which has left us with about an extra £500 in wages to spend. We've went ahead and spent that where we could. We've tried to be financially sensible. We've tried not to spend too much in any one area, because we do need to bring in a bit of cover for pretty much every position, and we also need players to not want big contracts, and big contracts they do not have. Andre Aguirre is going to be basically a cover at centre back and defensive midfielder. He's not really good enough. He's formerly of Watford in the Championship. Obviously, he's never played for them. He's on a very cheap deal. It's a non-contract and a £45 appearance fee, £10 when he's an unused sub. So that's probably what he'll be getting most games. We are going to be obviously looking to get a better player in this position, but for now he'll do as cover on a cheap deal. The next one up, and the last 3 have actually just joined us today, so we had a little bit of a pre-game transfer spree. So we've managed to bring in Louis De Souza, another one who's joined us on a non-contract. He's getting just £90 for his appearance fee. So how basically non-contracts work with the budget? They do actually count towards the budget. So you can see we are currently spending £6,875. So Aguirre's £45 does actually get put into that, because it's their appearance fee, so it is what they're expecting. So just because you're not actually paying a weekly wage, it does actually still get added on to the wage bill. It still actually gets added on to the transfer budgets and the wage budgets, which is unfortunate, but we're only paying him £90 a game, so really not too much. So basically gets treated as £90 a week. He is formerly of Rochdale and Bury. I think that's probably original Bury, not the Phoenix Club, which I think is Bury AFC. So formerly of Rochdale, never made a professional game. He will be starting today, though, in our first game against Buxton. Third signing was Olamide Ibrahim. He is a Irish 20-year-old who is basically going to be our new ball-winning midfielder. midfielder in the holding role. He does usually play further up. He can play just behind the striker as well, but I've got him eyed up for being pretty much a deep line playmaker actually down here, because that is a position we are severely lacking. He's a bit more attack focused, got a bit of legs, so that's where he should be. Weirdly enough, I've never seen this, but the coach reckons actually Michael Gash thinks he should be a first team regular. Don't know what that means. I don't know whether that means he's National League level, National League North level. Looking at his stats, he's a decent National League North player. He is formerly of Hednesford and Derby County, and actually Man United as well. Played 2 games so far in the Southern Premier on loan, but hasn't played any games of football this year. He will be starting, so he will be another one making his first game in National League North. And the last signing is Brandon Lonsdale. He has joined us on a £60 a week deal till the end of the season. Again, quite a cheap one. He is formerly of Blackburn, had a few loan spells down in the lower divisions for Macclesfield and Lancaster, but never really managed to do too much. He's basically going to be just a second choice striker. He's decent National League North level, £60 a week. Yeah, really not too bad. Ibrahim is on a little bit more. He's on £110 a week, but yeah, both all pretty much cheap deals. We are still in for a couple other players, but for now, these are the players that we've managed to bring in. We've had a lot of players come in on trial, but a lot of them want pretty crazy money, like £500-600 a week. We cannot afford that, so we are pretty much wheeling and dealing to get the cheaper transfers in. But for our first game, we will be taking on Buxton, so we'll probably need to adjust this actually. So we want Albert Jones to be the ball winner and Ibrahim to be the deep line playmaker. Let's change that. He doesn't want to be a ball winner. We want him to be a deep line playmaker on support, because I think that's the role. Yes, it is the role. So this is the team we've got. So we're going to start with Crook in goal, a back four of Ahui, Ashton Fox, and Connor Johnson, who's been really good since he's come back from his suspension. D'Souza is going to make his debut. Left back, we've got Albert Jones and Ibrahim, who's making his debut, and then a front four of Kane Felix, McCammon, Nicholson, and Chukwuemeka. I found that swapping Felix actually onto the right, Nicholson onto the left, has been a little bit better. As you can see, Felix in the last game did get a 7.8 rating. Chukwuemeka's ratings are never really good, but he has scored in the last 2 games, so we're going to keep him there. Aguirre and Lonsdale on the bench, as well as a couple other players. As you can see, we are trying to move on a number of players who do have interest and some don't. We still obviously have Cuban Mayer, who's coming back from his injury, but that is essentially our team. So let's get into it for our first game against Buxton. So our first game of the episode, we are away to Buxton. We obviously won our first game in the last match, so really we want to try and keep it up and try and get at least a draw in this game. I think a draw away from home would be decent. There was actually a home result against Southport, where we managed to get the 2-1 win. So maybe away from home we're not as good. They have won a lot of their most recent games. They're obviously up in 4th. We are off the bottom of the pile, but yeah, still quite a ways away from safety. So hopefully we can try and get something from this game. A win would be incredible. A win, if we could get it, would be amazing. I think we are playing a little bit better. The FA Cup game, we were really poor, but the players do seem to be picking up the system a little bit better. So we do seem to be playing a little bit better, which hopefully means we can start to see some better results. But it is Buxton currently with the ball, just kind of knocking it around the back. As you can see, the press is kind of there. It's not the best press in the world, but we are kind of working with it. But it does look like Buxton will be getting a chance as Papaga looks forward. He does shoot it, but Crook manages to claim the ball. He is a player that we are probably looking to replace. I do think the goalkeeper is quite a weak position. I think centre mid and left back were kind of the main concerns for me, which I think we've addressed with our new players. I don't think D'Souza is a long-term option. Neither do I think that any of the players in this team are long-term options. But for now, we should hopefully be able to rely on him, because obviously we just really didn't have a natural left back. I think centre backs were quite okay with. Strikers and attacking positions were okay. It's definitely midfield and probably left back where we still need to improve, as well as the goalkeeper. But I think Ibrahim looks like a good option. He just needs to learn the position. And McCammon actually manages to find his way through. And we do lead the game 1-0. Peterborough Sports 1, Buxton 0. It was a bit of a mess up at the back for Buxton when we did manage to just kind of pick up the ball. That does get us up to 22nd in the league, so maybe safety is not as far away as we might think it is. But obviously, you would expect Buxton to come back with a reaction. Zane Francis and goal. How do I know that? Because he used to play for Hartlepool. Does have, well, I say play. He wasn't very good. He didn't play a lot, but he did play for us. So I know who that is. Left back did have a chance, but thankfully Crook manages to see it wide. And on the follow up from the corner, it doesn't look like they're going to do too much else. But we're doing okay. It's probably pretty even, so we're maybe a little bit fortunate to be ahead. But that goal did come actually from an Ibrahim assist. So an assist on his debut is really promising for him. We do look a little bit out of shape sometimes, which I think is just a poor quality of the players we've got. But obviously, hopefully, as we progress, we'll hopefully start to see that tighten up a little bit with obviously the personnel improving as well as just learning the system. Away, he hasn't really impressed me at all. He's actually got one of the better ratings at the club in terms of star ratings, but he has been pretty much quite poor in every game we've played, which is a little bit worrying. He seems okay going forward, but defensively he seems very suspect. And Buxton are just kind of knocking the ball around, looking for an option. It looks like Mitchell's going to break through. He does slide it across, but Fox gets there, and the follow-up from Kirby does go over the net, and it does remain 1-0 Peterborough Sports. So we're doing okay. I think we're just hanging in there at the minute. If we can get a second and get a little bit of comfort, that will be good. And away he does have the ball. He finds Felix on the right-hand side, who plays it into McCammon, who gets his second goal, and Josh McCammon gets his second of the evening. It's Peterborough Sports 2, Buxton 0, and this time it comes from a Kane Felix assist. And somehow, even though Buxton really on the highlights have had all the kind of possession and the chances, we do actually go into half 2-0, so we're doing really well here against a playoff a team up in the playoffs, and we just need to tell them to not get consistent. Don't let the levels drop. Don't think we need to make any changes just yet. Obviously, we'll probably want to bring Lonsdale on for his debut at some point, but I think otherwise we are doing okay. Only a couple of positions, probably near the top end of the pitch, not doing too well. Nicholson's actually starting to tire, so after this highlight, I think we will bring Lonsdale on. Hopefully, we can see this out and not concede a goal here and try and see this game out. We do get some blocks in there, players putting their body on the line. That's just what you want to see. Hopefully we can bring the substitute on now. So let's get Brandon Lonsdale on for his debut. He is more of a striker, but he can play pretty much anywhere in the front four. Maybe not so much in behind the striker, but he can play out wide as well as up top. So he's going to come on for his debut, and hopefully we can see what he can offer. Nicholson, not the best game from him, but he did look a little bit tired going into it, the second half anyway, so not too much of a concern. We are looking for an option, but just kind of launch it, which really isn't how I want us to build up. I don't want us to be playing out from the fullbacks and in the midfield, so a little bit worrying there that we just kind of was just limited to launching it up. Again, the play is probably not good enough, and also just not enough time learning the system. Oh, that's not what you want to see. D'Souza totally misses his interception, and Romello Mitchell, who I don't know, he is a good player in Football Manager. I don't know how he's playing down at this level. Unfortunately, puts it in. Buxton do get a goal back, and they'll be looking to get an equaliser. Kane Felix actually manages to have a chance, on the right hand side, but their goalkeeper manages to put it wide. It's all happening here at wherever Buxton play. D'Souza nicks one in, and Kane Felix with a really, really tame effort. Unfortunately, doesn't test the keeper quite enough, and it does remain 2-1. About 30 minutes left in the game. It does seem like the tide has swung a little bit into Buxton's favour. If we can hold on, that would be great. We are just 20 minutes to go. I think I will bring Tootle on for away, just because he is tiring a little bit. Hugh Albin Jones, not Hugo, is also tiring a little bit as well. So we'll bring Aguirre on. Again, we'll give him his little £45 appearance fee instead of his £10 sub fee, and he can be happy with his £45 for his contribution for 20 minutes. The clock is ticking down. I really don't need any more highlights. If we can just keep it as 2-1, that'll be perfect for us. There is only 5 minutes to go. Only a couple of minutes left. I am just going to turn on. We are just going to go time wasting, full time wasting for the last 3 minutes. We won't do it too early because you can shoot yourself in the foot if you do it a little bit too early. But only a couple of minutes left, and it does look like And it is going to be our second win in 2 games. So back-to-back wins for Peterborough Sports see us get our first, not only our first win of the season, but our first 2 wins of the season back-to-back, because we haven't won any games. McCammon with 2 assists from Ibrahim and Felix. We are looking much more solid at the back. Stats-wise, we were probably about an even game, maybe just edged it to Buxton on the XG, but in terms of shots on target and total shots and possession, everything else, it was a pretty even game, so quite a good result for us, again, given that these are up in 4th, so we can take massive confidence from that even without too many additions to the team, we are seeming to turn it around. Just 1 point out of the relegation zone. The quicker we can get out of the bottom 4 and into sort of a mid-table look, and then we can kind of relax a little bit on signings and just bring in players who are definitely going to be good enough and look to move up the table, because realistically we don't want to be in a relegation fight. If we can get mid-table, I think that would be a really strong first season for us. So we are back for our second game of the episode. We're away to Warrington. A little bit of transfer business has been done since the last game. No more incomings, but we have sold another player. Mark Jones has went to Frome. Don't know who those are, but apparently they play very non-league. The 34-year-old backup striker left us. He was another one who was on a decent wage, I think about £300, which is pretty crazy for a player who is 34 and, yeah, really not good enough. So that does mean we do have a little bit more transfer money, but wage budget, but we really don't have too much more on the incomings at the minute. We have offered a couple contracts, but a few of those have gone to other clubs, which is always a shame. In terms of where we're at now, we're currently spending £6,500 a week, and we do have £7,400. So we do have about £900, so we can start to look at potentially some actual older players who, do require a bit of a proper budget. But Ibrahim is actually picking up the role of deep line plate maker pretty quick, actually. It usually takes quite a bit longer than that. But we are going to go with the same team that started the last game. Obviously, quite a lot of these lads did quite well. So obviously a 2-1 win over Buxton in the first game. If we can follow this up with another good result, another win, ideally, could see us move out of the bottom 4, which would be great. A draw could also do that, just depending on goal difference. But we are going to go with the exact same team that won the last game. We've won our last 2. A draw here would be another good result in my opinion. But if we can go and get a win, that'll be even better and take a lot of the pressure off that we were under. But I think just getting the first two wins has been really good. Warrington have won the last 3 games, but so did we. We've done really well. A couple famous names in there. Andre Wisdom, actually, formerly of Norwich, playing right back for them. If you look at his story of why he's playing so far down the leagues now, really interesting one. And Buckley Ricketts is another one who's pretty well known in Football Manager just for being really quick. So if we can keep those two quiet, that'll be good. But another away game, and hopefully we can get another good result. The Peterborough fans are just behind the goal there as D'Souza knocks it in, and Caleb Chukwuemeka gets another goal for us under the new reign here at Peterborough Sports, and he does rise to get to the end of the header, and D'Souza again turning provider there, as he's obviously put in a really nice ball in the back post, and we do go 1-0 up, which does actually bring us out currently of the bottom 4 with results that are currently happening elsewhere. Caleb Chukwuemeka, another goal for him under this new management that we've brought in, and another game we are actually leading, so we've actually turned the corner really quickly. I thought after the FA Cup game it was going to be really poor, and it was going to take a lot of work to really turn us around, but it seems like we are having a bit of a quick turnaround, which is really good. I definitely don't think we're in any position to be going up for the playoffs, but you never know. I mean, if we can keep results up, if we can keep results up, I mean, the way they are, we'll win the league if we win every game. But in terms of realistic results, obviously we won't expect to win every game. I think if you look at the sort of the XG rather than just the results, or the performances, should we say, it has been a lot more even. And probably the only game we've lost in the league was actually probably the game we played the best in. missing, so that's just the way it goes this sometimes. But we're actually looking like we could get a second there, and I think Felix just making the wrong option there. Went for goal when I think Chukwuemeka was also breaking through down the middle. We could have got another chance there, but it does look like we have another opportunity here as Ibrahim again swings it back post, and Chukwuemeka again gets to it, but this time the keeper just manages to push it onto the post, and Warrington are going to look to break here and catch us on the counter from that set piece, but it looks like we're going to deal with it enough. And you know what? D'Souza, for coming in, for someone who's on and on contract, doesn't really look up to the level too much. He's done really well in his first couple of games, so long may it continue. And it does look like if we can just see this a little bit less of the time of the half out, we are going to go into the second half with a lead, which again is really unexpected, because these guys, Warrington are actually up in 8th, I think it was at the start of the episode, so they're doing quite well as well. So we'll just tell the players not to get complacent. Someone didn't like it, but the rest of them were all fine with it. Hugh Albin-Jones is on a yellow. He's not playing too well. It's probably a bit too early to bring Aguirre on. Nicholson's fitness does seem to be a bit of an issue. He does seem to not do too well at getting the full 90 out of him. But yeah, I mean, look at the star ratings. D'Souza should be one of the worst performers, but he's actually been one of the best. So who knows? Star ratings could just be total hogwash. I tend to go off them pretty strongly. I know that that's something that a lot of other FM players are pretty against, going off the star ratings, but I am quite a big fan of them. I do think it gives you a really good sign of where your sort of ability, where the player is at compared to the rest of your squad. Obviously, star ratings are based sort of on a comparison to the rest of the squad in the league. It's not just an overall rating. In the world of football, it is related to the other players in your side. But we do start the second half off looking to hopefully try and extend our lead to give us a little bit of breathing room. We haven't actually kept a clean sheet yet, which is probably the one concern that I do have, that we aren't shipping a lot of goals, but we have not managed to keep a clean sheet. And I was going to say we might not be keeping one there, but thankfully the effort from the Warrington striker is over the bar. We have limited them to quite a few chances in this game with 30 minutes to go. Both of our centre backs and our midfielder are on yellow cards, which is a little bit concerning. It does seem like Warrington are stepping up the pressure there. It just said at the bottom, so they are probably going a little bit more attacking to try and get something out of this game. Again, Nicholson, not really the best game from him, and his fitness is waning, so we will take him off. Any other subs we want to make? D'Souza is kind of struggling, but he's playing pretty well. I don't want to bring the centre backs off. I have a little bit of superstition with Football Manager. The one thing I never like to do is substitute a centre back. For some reason, I don't know, maybe I just imagine it, I always notice that when I substitute a centre back off, I always concede. So I pretty much just never do it unless I'm forced to now. But 10 minutes to go. Warrington do have a free kick, and it's going to be Walker a step over it, but thankfully this time he does put his free kick over the bar. Only 10 minutes left, and Warrington do have a corner. They've whipped it in, and it's just about cleared, but not fully. Clark's picked it up. Andre Wisdom was the one who it fell to right at the end, but thankfully they've knocked it just wide of the mark. Do we want to make any final substitutions? We'll bring Aguirre on for Hugh Albin-Jones again, give him his little his little appearance fee, and we'll bring Matt Tootle on again. So pretty much 3 subs that we did identically to the last time. There isn't too much long left. I was just about to turn time wasting on, but there has been another highlight. This time, again, it's in deep in our half. Hopefully we can see this one out as I'm going to try and pronounce that. Grivosti, I guess, tries to pick up the ball. He knocks it in, but it is a pretty poor effort, but it does remain still in. Are you joking me? That was from about 40 yards out. Oh my God. So Warrington have just scored a 40-yard screamer. I don't even know if I can blame the goalkeeper there, because I don't know what he's meant to do. It's come off the inside of the post, and Declan Walker has just scored an absolute screamer from 40 yards out to level it up. It's Warrington 1, Peterborough Sports 1. I mean, what do you even say about that? He's just scored an absolute screamer about 40 yards out. It's crazy. Yeah, let's not make any more changes. I don't want to go time wasting because we are only level. I think we'll probably just see this out as a draw. I think we'll be pretty happy with the result. I think, yeah, it's going to finish 1-1. I'm pretty happy with that. It's still a point. It still takes us closer, 1 point closer to getting out the bottom 4. Unfortunately, we just couldn't hold on. But, I mean, yeah, when that goes in, what can you do? Not the best performances from us, but a decent result against a team that are up there. I'm not going to be too harsh on the players. Actually, you know what? I am going to be a little bit harsh on them because I have high expectations, but in reality, I am not too upset with that. Unfortunately, dropping down to a draw does actually mean we are back in the bottom four. Actually, only 3 points. We're actually further away now for some reason. Other results must have gone the way. Where's Hereford? They must have got a good result. No, Hereford lost. I was sure they weren't. Oh no, Hereford have actually dropped into the bottom four. It's other teams that are actually doing a little bit better. But we are 3 points away from Gloucester, who are just above us. So we do need to get a win pretty soon. But yeah, not a bad result. In terms of the schedule, when we'll come back, let's take a look at what we've got. So we've got Kings Lynn, Darlington, Chorley. I think we'll come back for. Let's have a look in the league. Boston, where are they? They are 11th. Is that interesting? What about Gloucester? Where are Gloucester? Okay, that one is more interesting because they are the one just outside the bottom four. So I think next time we come back, we'll come back for that FA Trophy game and the Gloucester game. So we'll come back after a run of 4 games. So we'll hopefully pick up some more wins, hopefully get a little bit closer to getting out the bottom four, and hopefully have a few more players to talk about as well. So we can try and improve results. But I think I'm pretty happy. I think the form is turning around. Dynamics are good. We are managing to shift on some of the old boys who just aren't good enough. We are bringing in some younger players. We are bringing in some players who are looking to improve us. And hopefully by the time we come back for the FA Trophy and the Gloucester game, we will have a bit of an improved squad as well. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you all for the next episode very soon.